Hi, everyone. Welcome to another course from Rise Leadership Academy, where we refine, inspire, sharpen, and equip leaders to be better leaders. Okay. I am Evangelist Pamela Burton, and I will be your facilitator for today. I am a member, where I am a proud member, shall I say, of Main Street Church of God in Christ, where our founder and pastor is Elder Brandon Clay. Y'all, thank you for joining this training today. Y'all, today we're going to be talking about stress stewardship for church and corporate leaders. And I know you're probably saying, hold up, why are we dealing with church and corporate leaders? Okay, ask yourself, is church the only place that you have leadership ability, that you're actually acting or serving as a leader? No, it's not. Typically, if you are working in ministry, you may also have a job where you are required to be in leadership, in a leadership role there as well. So today we're going to touch on both worlds, and we're going to see how they're intertwined, how they connect, and how we can better handle stress or identify stress before it get to the point to where you're burnt out, or you know what, you just can't take it anymore. That is what this training is designed to do today, is to really focus on leadership, your skills as it relates to stress. All right. So join me as we take this journey into stress stewardship for church and corporate leaders. I want you also, guys, look at the picture. In this picture, we see a rope, and you see how that rope is pulled, is stretched. Y'all, one more stretch and that rope is going to pop, right? It's going to snap. That is what happens when we are stressed out. Do you feel that way? I want you to think about it. Can you say that that may be you right now? That you have so much on your plate that you feel like if there is one more thing that you are asked to do, if there is one more thing that is placed on your plate, that you're going to snap? You know, that's how that rope is. It will snap, and that's how we do. And our snapping comes out in a different form. So we're going to dig into that. And hopefully by the end of this training, you will see how you can be better suited for leadership and handling your stress level. Okay, so today we're going to be dealing with, again, stress stewardship for church and corporate leaders. The purpose of this is to equip leaders to serve effectively, lead wisely, and care for themselves with strength, balance, and faith. So our training focus today, again, thank you guys for participating. I hope that you get some nuggets from this that will help you manage stress better. Y'all, we're going to learn why stress management matters in leadership. We're going to understand stress, pressure, and burnout. We're going to walk away with common stressors and understand common stressors in church and workplace leadership. We're going to focus on recognizing the warning signs of overload. And then we're going to look at some applications. So these are some things of how it has been applied in leadership. So we're going to look at our biblical leadership insight with Elijah and his exhaustion. We'll look at practical tools for managing stress daily, boundaries, rest, delegation, and renewal, building a healthy leadership support system, creating a personal stress stewardship plan. And then we're going to look at reflection, encouragement, and next steps. The goal for this training is to have healthy leaders, which healthy leaders are better equipped to serve people, make sound decisions, and sustain their purpose. Do you feel like you're sustaining your purpose right now? Do you feel like that? Or do you feel like you're overwhelmed? Let's dive into it. Okay, so this training deck will talk about stress, how we identify it. So let's talk about it a little bit, guys. When we talk about stress stewardship for church and corporate leaders, we talk about it is a faith-rooted, evidence-informed workshop. This is designed for pastors, ministry leaders, executives, managers, supervisors, and team leads. This training is going to help you lead with conviction, rest with wisdom, carry the work without carrying it alone. And again, it's designed for both sectors because we oftentimes work in both sectors. Let's be honest. Monday through Friday, you're doing your corporate work. You're working, whether you're working for private sector, public sector, whether you're working state government, federal government, whether you're doing your own business, you are working as a leader in your industry. And then we tag along and we throw in working in the church, where you may be over a ministry. You're working with the youth. You're having to work with Sunday school. You're working in the education department. Whatever you find yourself doing, usher board, that's still a ministry where you have to exert leadership, right? So oftentimes it can become challenging. So what this training is designed to do, this training blends scripture, practical habits, and evidence-based stress management tools. So what I want you guys to think as you're listening to this training, I want you guys to listen in three different ways, okay? So as you're listening to this training, I want you to put on your listening ears, okay? And I want you to think along these lines. I want you to ask yourself, what do I need personally? What do you need personally? And then I want you to ask, what does my team or ministry need? And then I want you to ask yourself, what culture am I creating around rest, support, and healthy load sharing? Those are the three things I want you to think about as we're going through this training. Again, I say, I want you to think about, what do I need personally? Because we all know that we deal with our own personal struggles when it comes to stress. You're a mom, you're a dad, you may be a husband, you may be a wife, you may be a friend, you may be a pastor, whatever. You got your personal stuff going on, right? Okay. You may have, when it comes to the team or the ministry need, now you got to think about, and we go to the pastor side of the house. Now you're looking at, okay, the pastor, you may have that, he has to steward us. He got to steward the flock. So that's stress. You have to deal with all the different ministries, ushers, education, children, the children's ministry. You have all of these different ministries while educating leaders. So all of that, again, what does my team or ministry need in order to thrive and not be stressed out? And then you got, what culture am I creating around rest, support, and healthy load sharing? Are you the one that just like to keep all the work to yourself? Are you the one that you feel like if you get it done, you know it's going to be done the right way, so you don't share the load with anybody else? You just say, hey, I'll just do it. I'll just do it myself because I know that me doing it is going to be okay. Is that you? I hope that's not you. But if that is you, now that is something that we have to change. Okay. All right. So let's dig in a little bit deeper. Okay. So why this training matters in both spaces, y'all. Let's think about it. Come on. So can you see yourself in any of these areas? Think about it. Church leadership realities. Let's be real. You got pastoral care, crisis calls, funerals, visits, spiritual covering. Y'all, can that make leaders feel like they're always having to be on? You're always having to be available. You're always having to do something, right? As a church leader, the reality is that somebody is going to call you 24/7 to take care of something. It's rare as a church leader to get days off, right? Now we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. Let me get through these bullets and then I'm going to dig into that a little bit more, okay? So think about it. When you're thinking about the Church of God in Christ and other church settings, often carry strong expectations for visibility, service, excellence, and availability. Many leaders support families, teams, and ministries while hiding their own fatigue. So I'm just going to stay on this side for a second. Let's look at the church side. See, oftentimes what we do, we have a tendency when we are in church leadership roles, we don't share the load. Or when we try to share the load, people go ghost. Yeah, we know it. We know that it happens. You see the pastor calling you, asking you, can you handle the task, and you ignore your phone. But oh, pastor, I missed your call. Yeah, but you call him back 2, 3 hours later. Yeah, come on now, y'all. As church leaders, we don't have to be stressed out, because as church leaders, if we're all carrying the load, if we're all carrying our part equally, then we all play a role in carrying the load, so that one person won't be stressed out, so that one person won't be burdened. Oftentimes what we do as church leadership, we want to put everything on the pastor. That's why we have ministries. Everybody heads up their own ministry. If you are over the children's ministry, then anything pertaining to the children's ministry should go through that minister or that leader of that ministry. If you are doing the announcements, everything should go through that person that handles the announcement. If they need to get the pastor involved, they will, but they don't have to escalate it, because they are put in that position because they can handle it. But what we tend to do is we want to talk to the ministry leader, and then we'll still turn around and go to the pastor and ask the pastor to help solve something that the ministry leader just solved, because we want to be seen by the pastor. Now, that's just me being on my soapbox, but I know you see it. Think about it. How many times as a ministry leader, have you been tasked with a certain thing, and instead of you handling your ministry, you are constantly going to the pastor? People come to you and ask you questions, and you're constantly going to the pastor, and you getting him to tell you what to do. But he put you in that position because it's already in you. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that there are some times when absolutely you're going to need guidance. But y'all, we have a tendency to take even the easiest of tasks to the pastor. And oftentimes it's not because we need him to answer the question. Oftentimes it's because we just want him to see us and see that we're working and give us accolades and tell us that, oh, thank you for doing what you're doing. Oh, I appreciate you. You know what? God sees you. He appreciates you. So stop running to the pastor for everything. I'm just saying, that's me on my soapbox. This is the training. Yeah. So charge it to the training. That's it. Just charge it to the training. We're going to be all right. I just need you. If that's you and those your toes, you just say, ouch. Just say, ouch. Okay. We tend to put more on the pastor and on ministry leaders, guys. And what happens is they tend to get burnt out because we're not holding our end of the stick. It goes back to the rope. You can only pull it so far before it snaps. So if you are a ministry leader and you are not truly delegating work, you have a whole team of people. Assess their skill sets. If you are over the children's ministry and you have assistants that assist you with the children's ministry, then start assigning each of your ministry leaders that are up under you tasks that they can do in order to help you, so that the entire burden of carrying that ministry is on you. You know, we tend to get stressed out because we don't know how to let go. We don't know how to delegate. Delegate is something as simple as saying, hey, Pam, I need for you to make sure that you teach the kids this Sunday. I got them next Sunday. This is your lesson. This is my lesson. And instead of me saying, well, I'm going to do it every Sunday, and now I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I'm starting to get frustrated because I said, okay, I'm just going to be the one to do everything. No, delegate it out to give yourself a breather, which we're going to dig into more. So let me not jump ahead. Let's look at the corporate leadership realities. When it comes to the corporate side, you're dealing with deadlines, staffing gaps, you're dealing with performance pressure, you're dealing with change fatigue and constant communication, which keep leaders mentally open all day. You're dealing with people who are managers. People managers often absorb the emotions of a team while also being measured by outcomes. You're dealing with high capacity leaders who can become the default problem solver for everyone around them. Now, look at both of those. Even as a church leader, in their reality, corporate leadership realities are the same. Is that not what we do? When you're looking at deadlines, church leadership have deadlines as well. When you're putting on an event at the church, there's still a deadline for it. When we're doing any type of let's see, you have fatigue that comes with putting on something at the church. When we have to do annual days and things of that nature, there's still pressure. There's deadlines, right? We still have to communicate. All day, your mind is going as a church leader or corporate leader. All day, your mind is still in that same vein where you're thinking about, how can I make this better? What can I do to make this better, right? Your mind is always open to the next, to what do I have to do, right? And then we go to people managers. Think about it. Even as a church leader, you're managing people. No matter what leadership role you serve in, you're still dealing with the people. Because let's be real, even if you're the pastor, you have leaders up under you. You have your elders. You have your ministers up under you. So you're still managing people. You still have the members that are going to come to you. And that's regardless of what position you're in. There's still people. We're still having to check on people, to care for people, right? And that's a lot when it comes to leadership, right? We're always having to be problem solvers, no matter which vein that you're in, whether it's corporate or whether it's church. But again, it goes back to, even with those spaces, it goes back to, okay, are you delegating? Are you letting people know that you need help? There is an overlap. Both ministry and workplace leadership can reward strength while quietly punishing exhaustion. Meaning, in church, leaders may feel responsible for people's souls, grief, and family crisis. In organizations, leaders may feel responsible for morale, results, and rapid change. But in both spaces, both of these different places, guys, stress becomes dangerous when it is normalized instead of managed. Rest is not quitting. Rest is part of sustainable leadership. Jesus says in Matthew 11, he says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Even Jesus spoke of resting. But oftentimes what we do is we keep going and going and going until our body just shuts down. Until now our body is saying, since you won't rest, I'm going to make you rest. And that's typically what happens, is that our body now shuts down and you're sick and you're stressed, you're miserable, you're tired. You don't want to be bothered with anybody because now your body has spoken because you didn't know when to stop. So let's dig into this a little bit deeper. Let's understand stress and burnout. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to look at the difference between normal stress and burnout. Stress can be a short-term response to real demand. Burnout develops when chronic pressure goes unmanaged and leaders begin to lose energy, perspective, and effectiveness. This matters in professional settings, and the same pattern can appear in ministry, even if the exact language is different. The World Health Organization spoke on stress. Let's dig into this a little bit. So when we look at this, stress is real. It is a real leadership issue. Burnout grows when chronic pressure is left unmanaged. So when we look at stress, the mind, body, spirit response to pressure, demand, uncertainty, or overload. Do you see yourself in that? Think about it. I want you to take a moment and think about where you are right now. Think about all that's on your plate. Think about it. Y'all, when you think about all that's on your plate, you got projects to take care of. If you are a parent, then you have children events to attend at school. You got to make sure the kids are ready for school the next day. Or you're dealing with, cooking and cleaning and taking care of the house. You're dealing with working your job. You're dealing with not just working your job, but now you got to go and take care of church business, and you got to go and practice with the kids at the church. You got to go, and it's always something, right? And after a certain point, that weight begins to be heavy. And the problem is that we don't know when to step back and say, hold up, let me breathe. I need to refocus. I need to readjust some things. And if we don't readjust, that is when we lead to burnout. So the World Health Organization describes burnout as a syndrome from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. Y'all, whether it's in the workplace or whether it's in the church, it's the same thing. You're in overload. You've taken so much on that you can't do it anymore. Your body it shuts down. It stops. And if truth be told, some of us are probably there now. You're probably looking at yourself right now saying, I have taken on too much on my plate. How do we fix that? We're going to talk about that later, but I want you to really think about what's on your plate right now. Okay? The best way to deal with stress is to manage it. But what happens when it's unmanaged? What does it look like? So typically what it looks like is you have trouble concentrating or making decisions, sleep disruption, headaches, stomach problems, irritability, emotional numbness, skepticism, or loss of joy in work, reduced effectiveness, compassion fatigue, shorter temper. Is that you? Do you feel like you're snapping at people? They ask you one question and before you know it, you've rambled and went on this tangent because you're exhausted and you're tired. They don't know what's on your plate, but you do. And because you have allowed more to be put on your plate, now you're tired and you're snapping at everybody because you don't know how to handle your stress level. You don't know how to set boundaries, which is what we're going to get into later. The one thing I want you to take away from this slide is that strong leaders are not the ones who feel nothing. Strong leaders notice pressure early, respond wisely, and build rhythms that keep them healthy enough to keep serving well. Think about it. Think about how you're serving right now. Have you communicated to anybody that you're stressed? Have you communicated to anybody that you got a lot on your plate? Have you told anybody that you need help? Now is the time to have that conversation. Now is the time for you to start letting people know that you need help. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a weak leader. It makes you an honest one. You're just being honest. You're being true to yourself. And if you don't be true to you, nobody else will. There's a balancing act to this. And we're going to talk about some tools that you can put in place to help you balance your stress. People often assume that stress is only emotional, but it also affects your thinking, sleeping, the body, relationships. Let's be real. Think about your relationships. Are they suffering because you're stressed out? Possibility, right? Okay. Y'all, look at this guy. Can you tell that he is beyond stressed right now? So let's talk about some common pressure points for leaders. Y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I have felt like this. Oh my goodness. But one thing that I do, and I'm guilty of it, I am guilty of, I will be feeling like this on the inside, y'all. But then when my team used to come around, y'all, I'll put my pretty face on, I'm smiling. But there were times when I broke because I'm human and I'm tired. You're human and you're tired. But we want to avoid getting to that place to where we break. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about some common pressure points for leaders. Let's talk about visibility pressure, feeling the need to be steady, helpful, available, and spiritually or professionally strong all the time. Y'all, we do not have to be helpful, available, and spiritually or professionally strong all the time. That is something that I don't know who told us that. I can remember when, remember when you were raised, and your parents always say, this is that thing where they say, what happens in the house stays in the house. Or we'll tell, men are often, oh my goodness, men are often told that you don't show any sign of weakness. You don't show any signs of emotion. How many times so I know there's some men listening. How many times have men been told, don't show any signs of weakness? You don't show emotion. You better not cry, boy. Have y'all heard that? Y'all, emotions are not a sign of weakness. We do not have to be strong all the time. There are times when we are tired. You are emotionally tired. And there is nothing wrong with being tired. The thing is that you got to get to the point to where you literally say, I'm tired. You have to be able to admit it and then do something about it. Or how about emotional labor? That is holding other people's fear, grief, conflict, and uncertainty while still being expected to lead well. All right, let's think about this and we can take this on the corporate side and church side. Think about it. All right. For those of you who work in corporate America as well as in leadership, think about it. You are dealing with every single day. You go to work, you hear oh my goodness, you hear their problems. They're talking to you about how the work is a struggle. You got to help them. You're dealing with their conflicts, their grief, their fears. You're dealing with all of their stuff, right? They just pour it on you, right? Then you go to church and you're sitting in the church, and now you got members coming to you talking about all their problems and the things that they deal with on a daily basis. And Lord, now they've poured all their stuff on you as a leader. And you're sitting there and you're sitting with all of this stuff sitting on you. And then you're expected to lead when you're heavy. Oh my goodness. What's your outlet? What's your outlet? That's the problem. We don't have outlets. We allow people just to pour and pour and pour and pour. But it shouldn't be that way. And to be honest, if everybody was in their rightful position, if everybody played their part, if everybody handled their ministry, nobody would be overwhelmed. It goes back to what I said earlier. If you are over the children's ministry, then people dealing with children issues should be coming to the person that's over the children's ministry. If you are over the singles ministry, then people should be coming to the person that's over the singles ministry. If you are dealing with marital issues, you should be coming to the person that's over the marriage ministry. Whatever the case is, that's how you handle not allowing one person to carry all of that weight. But instead, what do? We run to the pastor. Or if you're in corporate America, you want to go all the way to the top and talk to your supervisor at the top versus going to the team lead. Because again, we have to be seen. Because we all know that there are some things that we take to leadership that does not have to be taken to leadership. They know you're working. God will show them. They see it. But we want them to give us the accolades. Good job. I'm proud of you. So now that starts the conversation. What are you doing all of this for? What are you doing it all for? If you're taking on all this stress and all these tasks and all these items upon yourself, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it just to be seen? Are you doing it just for the accolades? Because that's not what the Bible says. We're not supposed to be doing things to be seen. God sees you, He'll reward you. Our job is to work, and then God will reward us openly in His timing. But see, we want to get in the habit of taking all this stuff on. Then we get stressed out because we've taken all this stuff on. So now you can't be beneficial in anything because you're stressed trying to do everything. And on top of trying to do everything, now you're stressed because Pastor can't get to you as quickly as you would like for him to, because he has overload in his lap too. And you just want to drop more overload in his lap. We all have to stay in our confines. Handle your wheel. Whatever you've been asked to drive, that's your lane. Stay in your lane. Whatever ministry, whatever your title is, stay in your lane and then delegate. So let's dig into decision fatigue. So decision fatigue is making repeated judgment calls with limited time, incomplete information, or constant interruption. Y'all, let's be real. Come on now. When it comes to making decisions, if you are stressed and you are constantly being interrupted, you are constantly being bombarded with people coming in constantly, you're not going to make sound decisions. You're not going to have time to gather all the facts, especially if you're up against a deadline. That is why it's important to delegate and everybody operate in their respective places. That's the key, guys, is operating in your respective place and utilizing the help that you have so that it doesn't get to this point. How about boundary erosion? That is answering messages late, skipping breaks, carrying unresolved issues home, and never fully coming offline. Y'all, can we all say we do that? You went to work and you brought everything that you were working on at work home. Your house should be your safe place. That should be your place of relaxation. And I'm here to tell y'all that if you are bringing work home, stop it. Stop it. I can't say that enough. Stop it. The work that you bring home will be there tomorrow. But we get into this space to where we get stressed out thinking that, oh my goodness, if I don't get it done, then, oh my goodness, I'm going to get fired, or they're going to do this, or they're going to do that. Guess what? They will fire you if you do your job. So how about you leave your job at the job and then you go home and enjoy your family and breathe and regroup? You're carrying all of that stress home, and then you're snapping at the people at home because you haven't turned off. You're still online at work. Your mind is still going and you're still thinking about everything that you got to do. You're thinking about getting that task done for work. You're thinking about, oh my goodness, what you got to take care of, the report that's due. You're thinking about all this stuff. Well, guess what? It'll be due tomorrow too. It will be due tomorrow too. You have to learn how to shut off. I'm here to tell you that when you don't shut off, I promise you, your body will shut you off. And then you can't be beneficial to anybody or anything. Because when you're stressed, when you are sitting here and you're dealing with all of these pressure points, whether it's emotional labor, visibility pressure, decision fatigue, boundary erosion, all of these things come from us not handling our stress properly. How are you handling your stress? You know, if you are that one that worry all the time, because I used to be that person. And the truth be told, yes, there are some times where we're going to worry, right? Absolutely. Think about it. Ask yourself right now. I'm sure there is something on your mind that you're thinking about, that you're worrying about right now. I guarantee it, you are. Ask yourself, is worrying changing anything? Is worrying shifting anything? All it's doing is draining you. So why are you stressing about it? Why are you worrying about it? What will be, will be. So you got to learn how to let that stress go. And the best way to let that stress go is to realize if you go to work, you give 100% of yourself on your job. You delegate the tasks that you can delegate. You use your team effectively. You learn how to assess their skills and their weaknesses. Wherever they are strong and wherever they're weak, you assign them tasks accordingly. And then you do touch point meetings to make sure that the work is being done. That's how you reduce all of that stress off of you so that you're not the one that is sitting there doing every single task because you feel like you're the only one that can get it done. No, you're not. Sorry to tell you that. There are some people that you can train on your job to get the work done. But that also carries over into the church because there are some people in the church that we can utilize to help us do our job in the church. If you are a leader, there are people that can help. There's more than one person that can pray. There is more than one person that can teach. There is more than one person that can be an usher. There is more than one people that can serve food. There is more than one people that can do anything in the church, including preach. It's about utilizing the people that you have, observing them, identifying their skill set. And guess what? If they lack a skill set, but you see that they have the potential to actually do the task that you need them to do, train them. And guess what you just did? You just built up a new leader. You just equipped them to be a leader. And now you got one more person that can handle the workload so that you're not stressed. You can't do everything by yourself. You got to know when to assign tasks out. There are people that want to work. They just want you to ask them. Everybody don't have they're not brave enough. They're not courageous enough. They don't have that ability to be forthcoming and say, hey, I want to help with this. How about you go to some people and say, hey, I need some help in this ministry. And I see this in you. You know, you seem like you really are good with organizing. You help with this event and you were really good with it. Do you mind helping me with this event or with this task? It's up to you. It's in your hands. But instead, guess what we do? I got it. And you keep telling yourself you got it until you don't have it. And then you end up not being focused at work, not being focused at home, and not being focused at church. Then you fall into this depressed stage because now you feel like you're not good enough for anything because you're overwhelmed with everything. See, some of this stuff we bring on ourselves because we don't know how to release. So we got to learn how to release. But it's not just about releasing. We need the people who we release stuff to hold up their end. So if I release something to you, now hold up your side and get it done. But we don't want to do that, right? It's about assessing people and their skill set, meeting them where they are, delegating work to them. And guess what? When they show you they can't handle the task, go to somebody else. Stop putting people out there to do certain things when they've shown you over and over and over they're not ready. Instead, how about what you do with that individual that is showing you they're not ready? We start training them because everybody don't like the limelight. And that's just real talk. There are some people that don't want to be in the spotlight. Some people like to be quiet. They like to be in the back. They like to be, I don't want to be seen. I'll do whatever you ask me to do. Don't call my name. Don't say my name. Don't say nothing. But then there are those that they want you to call their name for every single thing that they do. And I'm here to tell those individuals, you have to get to a place to where, you know what? Learn how to pat yourself on the back, because your accolades are going to come. Maybe not in the way you want them to come, but they're going to come. And when you stop waiting on people to give you accolades and you just do your part, I promise you, you will be more productive and you will get things done more efficiently with less stress. Because oftentimes the stress comes because we didn't get the pat on the back, because we didn't feel like we were seen. But who were you doing it for? Even on your job, your boss is not always going to tell you, good job, great, I'm proud of you. Your boss ain't going to tell you that. They're going to tell you, okay, now I need you to work on this project. Now I need you to work on this project. Now they're going to give you more work because you just completed a task. So why is it when we're in the church, we feel like in the church, we need everybody to constantly tell us, good job, good job, good job, good job. We need them to constantly give us that reassurance. And I just need you to keep No, if you don't get it on your job, why you want to put that pressure in the church too? It doesn't work that way. Come on, y'all. I need you to really start thinking about, what are you doing it for? And are you utilizing all of the people that have been placed in your hands? Are you utilizing these people? Are you really utilizing them? Come on now. So I go back to this scripture with 1 Peter 5:7. And it says, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. One of the things that we fail to do when we are feeling overwhelmed, we fail to pray. Seek God. Pray and ask him for guidance. Pray and ask him to lead you to the right people to help you, to lead you to the right people that's going to actually be a help to you versus a hindrance, that's going to bring more stress on you than reduce your stress level. God will do it, but are you asking him? I want you to think about this. Which pressure point is strongest for you right now? Which one is strongest on your team or in your ministry culture right now? Which one of these are the strongest? Y'all, if I be honest with you, probably decision fatigue has been the strongest one for me right now. Y'all, because I'm constantly in my head, making repeated judgment calls with limited time, incomplete information, or constant interruption. Because I'm always moving and doing, and I feel like when I'm trying to make a decision, I don't have all of the answers. I don't have all of the information. I don't have everything, and I'm trying to move and do and shift. And y'all, I find myself exhausted mentally. We got to do better. Which one are you? Think about it. Maybe you're the one that, again, you don't know how to set boundaries. You bring your work home. You don't know how to cut off. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Even your work in the church, let's be real. With the work that you do in the church, there has to be a moment where we cut off. I don't want nobody out there saying, she said that I need to be. No, what I am telling you is that there is a balance. You have to get to a place to where you balance this thing out. I'm going to work on ministry work at home for 2-3 hours. And then I'm going to shut it down and be with my family. Because what happens is when we are constantly working in the corporate world, when you're constantly working in the church world, and then you bring all of that home, somebody is going to go lacking, whether it be your spouse, your children, your friends, your rest, your mental, your physical. Something is going to go lacking. And you have to know how to shut that down and shut off everything and give your family your energy so that they don't feel like now they have become your last priority. Everybody understand? Think about it. How often are you at home and you're constantly working and you don't take a break and truly give your family your attention, whether you're on the corporate side or in the ministry side? Do you have a balance? If not, you got to create one. You have to. You know, many high capacity leaders, they do not crash because of one dramatic event. They wear down themselves repeatedly because they have low recovery days. Y'all, they don't know how to recover. You don't take time to rest. I need you guys to really think about, are you resting? What are you doing? So let's talk about how do we recognize overload early? Okay. So as it comes to overload, all right, y'all, the earlier leaders name the signs. The easier it is to interrupt unhealthy patterns. So let's think about this. What early warning signs what early warning sound like? Signs sound like, I am tired, but I keep telling myself to push through. Small problems feel unusually personal or overwhelming. I am present physically, but mentally I am checked out. I do not have patience for people the way I normally do. Y'all, can you see yourself in that? I know I can, because I say it all the time. I'll say it in a minute. I am tired, but I got to keep going. I got to keep going. I got to keep going. Because that has been engraved in me for so long that I have to keep moving. But it's not until you start having real life experiences that you start taking your life more seriously. When we don't take our life more seriously, and we always talk about, I'm tired, but I got to keep going. Guess what? That is what leads to heart disease, stress, strokes, heart attacks. Your body shutting down, you're getting sick, where your body used to not be susceptible to certain things. Now you find yourself, you get a cold quickly because your immune system is weak because you're not resting. So you find yourself, every little thing you feel like you catch it. Somebody sneeze around you and tomorrow you're around here, got the whole flu, not half of it, you got whole flu. So you have to be able to sit down and recognize. You got to recognize where you are. Where are you in this space? Which warning signs do you see in yourself right now? You know, healthy language is, I need support. Instead of me saying I'm tired, I need to say I need support. I need rest. I need to slow the pace. I need to share the load. Leadership wisdom comes from Proverbs 4:23, which teaches leaders to keep the heart with all diligence. Guarding your inner life is not selfish. It protects the quality of your leadership, relationship, and discernment. Y'all, you got to do a self-assessment of yourself. You got to think about it. Think about just the last 2 weeks of your life, not just today. Think about your overload. Overload is often easier to spot in patterns. Less patience, more reactivity. So you're reactive. Every time somebody says something to you, you're quick to react. Poor sleep. You can't rest. You don't have any joy. It's hard to get a smile out of you. Reduce focus. You can't focus on anything. Or you're using busy to avoid deeper reflection. The goal is not shame. The goal is earlier recognition. You know, Proverbs 4:23, like I just read to you guys, y'all, all it's doing is teaching us how we should guard our heart and maintain a healthy mindset. Okay, think about these principles as it relates to Proverbs 4:23. Prioritize your thoughts because they shape your actions and your character, right? Whatever you think, that's what you are. If you're always, thinking that you're the only one can do it, okay, that's where you're going to get stressed out at. Yep, you're going to be tired. Be mindful of what you consume, media, conversations, and influences. Y'all, what are you watching? All of that stuff get in your spirit too. When it says guard your heart, it means guard your heart, everything. Because what goes in your eyes, what goes in your ears, all of that stuff is just sitting in you. Surround yourself with positive and uplifting people. Practice gratitude to foster a positive outlook on life. Set boundaries to protect your emotional and mental well-being. Regularly reflect on your feelings and thoughts to stay self-aware. Y'all, all of this, being able to recognize these principles and putting them in practice will help you to avoid stress. You'll recognize it early before you get to that place to where you're in overload. So here we are. Let's look at a biblical case study, okay, with Elijah in 1 Kings 19. Y'all, Elijah, here he is, a powerful example because his collapse happened after a major spiritual victory. Remember, visible success does not cancel private depletion. God did not begin with correction. He began with care, rest, food, water, space. That is a wise leadership pattern for both church and corporate settings. Y'all, you look at exhaustion. So look at 1 Kings 19:7 when God says, arise and eat because the journey is too great for thee. God ain't telling us that because he just talking. He telling us that because we got to take care of our physical. Because what's ahead of us, if we don't take care of our physical, if you don't manage this thing, then how can you do the work that he's called you to do? How can you properly balance? How can you properly assign tasks to the right people? How can you? You can't. Because you haven't properly, first of all, you haven't properly prayed and spent time with God in order for him to lead and guide you to who you need in your life, to who need to assist you in your life. You haven't done any of that. He gives us instructions for a reason. You know, when we look at exhaustion, y'all, exhaustion is after intense public ministry and conflict, Elijah wanted to withdraw and give up. Can we say that? I can be honest with you and say there were times when I have reached my moment of exhaustion. I can be honest and say I reached my moment of exhaustion going through different trials in my life. I did. But how many of us know that God will give you what you need? When you seek him, he'll tell you who to delegate this to, who to give you what you need, who to speak a word into your life, who to tell you, you're doing too much. Shut some of this stuff down. You got too many things going on at one time. You can't do it all. God will tell you what you need to do. So Elisha went into exhaustion. He wanted to withdraw and give up. But then we go to step number 2. Y'all, rest first. He slept before he was asked to perform again. So he had his victory, then he was exhausted, then he had to rest. And then we go into provision. He received food and water before receiving the next assignment. He rested before he went on to do the next thing that he was purposed to do. Are you resting between your assignments? And if you're not, today is a good day to start. Set aside some time to rest. And then the fourth stage, renewed direction. God restored perspective and gave him a next step, not the whole future at once. He gave him the next step. And that's us, guys. We got to take it step by step. You accomplish your task, rest. Accomplish, rest. Accomplish, rest. Make sure you're praying so you get guidance on how to pursue your next. Okay? Leadership lesson here. Before asking depleted leaders for more output, wise leaders make room for sleep, nourishment, quiet, and clarity. Make sure you're doing this. And make sure you're watching your team, those who are around you. Make sure that they are resting. If you pay attention to your people, you'll know when they're burnt out. If you pay attention to your pastor, to ministry leaders, supervisors, you can tell when people are burnt out. You can tell when they're tired. You can tell when they're stressed if you pay attention. And that is where we step in and we have to say, how can I make your load easier? Easier. Not give them more work to do. We make it easier. Okay? So how many of us often ask worn out people for more performance when we know they need rest and recovery? Come on, y'all. Start paying attention to those around you. We have to learn how to make sure those around us are resting, relaxing, recovering before we keep putting them. And then when they fail, guess what? That's on us. We got to take that because we knew they were tired before we assigned them the next task. We knew they haven't recovered, and yet we're still pouring on the work. But it's up to you as a leader to make sure you're resting, you're delegating, and then you are meeting with your team to keep them on track. But you're not doing it all by yourself, and everybody is functioning in their rightful space. Okay, so a practical reset toolkit that all of us can put in place is pray and release. Name the burden directly before God instead of carrying it silently. Y'all, pray. We don't want to pray. And I've been guilty of it too. Let's be honest. We get so burdened down by life that sometimes prayer becomes few and far between. But if we pray and ask for guidance, God will give it to us and release those things that are beyond your control and ask God for wisdom on how to handle them. Y'all, sleep and nourish. Fatigue intensifies stress. Come on now, it weakens your discernment. So you have to rest. Use support. Talk with a counselor, a mentor, pastor, coach, employee assistance program. We all have them on our jobs, or trusted peer. But make sure when you're talking to these individuals, like when you're going to the pastor, and I always say this, remember when you are going to a pastor, a leader in a ministry, or a leader at work, make sure that you are not coming and adding more stress to their already heavy plate. That's what ministry leaders are for. I can't say that enough. Pause the body. Slow breathing, quiet, take short walks, or a break. Y'all, it can lower your reactivity. So what I mean by that, guys, sometimes it's just good to sit back and to breathe. I do it often now. I used to didn't, but now, absolutely. And I'll be honest with you, y'all, I can say this stuff now because I learned to do better. Stress, it affects your body. It affects you. And I'm here to tell you what you don't want are heart issues because you've carried so much stress. And I had to learn that the hard way. And now I'm here to tell you, don't let that be your story too. Y'all, write and prioritize. Y'all, journal. And journal can be for men and women. So y'all stop sitting here thinking women are the only one that journal. No, men can journal too. Write your thoughts down. List your top priorities and defer from non-essential tasks. If it is not necessary, y'all, scratch it off. Stop just overloading yourself with all this stuff that you don't need to be doing. Come on now. And then after you've done all of this, return with focus. Re-enter the work with one clear next step instead of trying to fix everything at once. Fix one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Y'all, the Bible says, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. Y'all, pray about everything. Talk to God about everything. He know where you are. He already know where you are. He already know you struggle with releasing stuff. He already know all this stuff. He know you struggle with wanting to do everything yourself. Ask him to help you in that area. Let it go before it let you go. I'll let that sink in. You know, stress reduction is not one single technique. It works best when leaders combine spiritual practices with physical recovery, emotional support, and better task management. Y'all, seeking help it doesn't mean you're weak. That's wisdom. A wise person asks for help. Come on now, get you some help. And then incorporate healthy stress reducing activities. Go for a walk. I said that earlier. In this season, y'all, exercise is a good thing. And if you are not doing it, do not tell me you can't do it, because if you are sitting in a chair, there are chair exercises. So nobody can sit here and say that your knees messed up. No, you can exercise. You can sit in a chair and do exercises to help reduce your stress level. But the main thing you can do to reduce your stress level is delegate some of that work. And when you find that you can't reduce that stress level that way because you don't have anybody capable of handling the task, how about you train them to handle it? Stop talking about you don't have a leader that is cut out for it and start creating leaders that are cut out for it. It's just that simple. Teach them. You teach a man to fish, so go teach. And I'm going to let that sit right there. Okay, so boundaries. Let's talk about boundaries, Sabbath, and delegation. And we're almost done, guys. So when I talk about boundaries, y'all, I know that this may be hard for some people. Boundaries, Sabbath, and delegation. When we talk about boundaries, y'all, create response windows, protect your focus time, and define what truly requires your immediate attention. Everything is not a fire. Everything does not have to be handled right now. You don't have to see the pastor every Sunday after church. Half the time you just want to talk. He just got through preaching and pouring into us, and now he got to recover, but he can't recover because we trying to bust down the door to talk to him about nothing. You trying to get in to see your supervisor in the office to talk about nothing. And I've been guilty of it, y'all. Oh, I have been guilty of it, where I have sit and talked to my team about nothing. Stuff that ain't got squat to do with work, just wasting their time. And it's because they didn't set boundaries and I monopolized their time. I was selfish because I monopolized their time. And you have to be a person that understands how to say, hey, is this something that we can talk about later? Because I need to go and finish this project before 4:30 or whatever the case may be. We got to be honest. It's okay to be honest. Set your boundaries. Because your supervisor is sitting there and they're just running off at the lip. But you're trying to get work done that they assigned you because you know another task is going to come behind it. But there is a respectful, professional way to handle any situation. You can also say, hey, I know this task is due today by 4:30, but if you really need for us to have this conversation, is it okay if I turn this project in tomorrow at 4:30? Y'all, it's a way to do anything. And let's talk about, so set your boundaries, define them. Sabbath, rest. Y'all, Mark 6:31 reminds leaders that even active ministry needed a place to rest a while. Rest is obedience, not laziness. Everybody needs to recover. We all need to rest. In order for you to be the best version of yourself, you have to rest. And then you guys have heard me say throughout this entire training, delegation, delegation, delegation. You got to delegate. Galatians 6:2 supports burden sharing. Healthy leaders build teams, train others, and stop acting like every task belongs to them. I can't do it all by myself. You've heard me say that. Y'all, you have to know how to give stuff to other people. Let them handle these tasks and then have checkpoint meetings. Where are we with this? We're going to set a meeting for once a week where we're going to see where you are with this project that's due in a month, 6 months, whatever the case may be. You set times to meet and we talk about where are we. But that doesn't mean that we meet every single day unless the project requires it. But even with that, you have to be able to set boundaries. Are we going to have an hour-long meeting once a day? Are we going to have, 4-hour meeting once a week? What does that look like? So that you can still get other work done and then train others. If you see that you are lacking in leaders, train some. It's time to start building more leaders. When one person won't work, there are other people that are willing to work. We just got to go and find them. Let's find them. A lot of them are sitting right up under your nose and would love to help. We just haven't asked. So let's start building leaders. And for the ones that don't show up or don't want to work, let them sit on the sidelines while we go and we produce other leaders. There's always somebody willing to get it done. Let's get it done. Right? We got to empower people. The pastor should not be the only one that's preaching. Not when he has a whole ministry staff. He should not be the only one praying for his members. Not when he has a whole ministry staff. He should not be the only one at the church working. Not when he has a whole staff at the church. Everybody has to play their part. Everybody. And it's up to us to play our part so that the workload is not just on the pastor, the ministry leaders, your supervisors, your managers. It can't be on all them. We have to play our part. Even as members of the church, you are still a leader. You have an innate ability to lead. Lead. Don't walk past a piece of paper on the floor just because we got a cleanup staff at the church. Pick up the paper. Pick it up. Lead by example. You are helping. We are all in this together. And if we lean on each other, then now we are all carrying the load, the weight of the house together, the work together, the office together, the church together. We are all one body. The problem is that we're not acting like it. So therefore, since we're not acting like it, the head is doing more of the work. You got the hand doing the work, but the neck ain't doing anything. You got one leg working, but the other leg don't checked out. Everybody has to do their part for the body to function properly. So it's time for us to function as a body. Stress management, y'all, it becomes sustainable when it is built into a calendar, communication norms, and team design. Build it. So let's talk a little bit about build a care network. And I've already kind of talked about this a little bit, y'all, and I'm just going to hit it real briefly. Spiritual support. Again, remember, I put the pastor here, but there are ministry leaders. So you do not have to call the pastor for everything. Go to your ministry leader. Okay? Let the pastor prepare to feed us. And if the ministry leader is struggling with a decision, then that ministry leader will reach out to the pastor to get additional guidance. And I'm not saying that there are some times where you truly, shouldn't go to the pastor, because there are some things that are of urgency But is it really urgent? Is there somebody else that can assist with it? That's what you have to ask yourself. And if he's been talking to you about the same thing and you keep going to him for the same thing, go to a ministry leader and talk to them about it. Because he's already told you what to do. That's me on my soapbox. He already told you what to do. Just, you know what? You're not going to do it anyway. I'm just saying, go on over there. Go on over to a ministry leader and talk to them about it. Yeah. Because he got to focus on giving us a word. So we have to be wise. We have to be wise. So get your support system, prayer partner, trusted elder, motherboard leader, mentor, another member that you trust, personal support, spouse, family member, friend, or peer leader who knows the real you. Y'all, I think the personal support is one of those areas that we truly struggle with. And I'll be honest with you, because it has always been hard for me to release who I am and show the true me. I've always struggled with showing the true me. But I'm here to tell you now, you got to find someone that you can be vulnerable with and show your true self with. And that may be your spouse. That may be your family member. I have been blessed in this season of my life to where I literally have only 2 people I can be truthful with and share all of me with. They know good, the bad, the ugly. They know my stuff. And then I have my 2 boys. So get you somebody that is truly there and that they got to know you. You can feel safe talking to them and they won't tell your business. Professional support, a supervisor, a coach, a therapist, a counselor, or an employee assistance program. You may actually have a mentor on your job. Oftentimes people get mentors on their job all the time because that mentor, which is the same as a coach, they actually help to guide you. You can be honest with them. You can be vulnerable with them. And they're going to also help to guide you from a professional standpoint on how to be a better leader, a better person, a better employee. And then operational support, executive assistant, ministry administrator, team lead, or project owner who helps distribute the load. Y'all, there is something for everybody. But as you can see from the hands, it's all of us working together so that one person does not have to carry the load. Okay? So here's something that I want you guys to practice on your own. I want you to create a 7-day stress stewardship plan. All right. So what this means, guys, this is your homework. Okay. I need for you on day 1 to name the load. Write down the 3 biggest stressors you are carrying right now. Okay. On day 2, protect 1 margin. Block 1 period for quiet, prayer, rest, or deep work. Day 3, share 1 burden, ask for help, delegate a task, or talk to a trusted support person. Day 4, reset the body, take a walk, improve, sleep tonight, hydrate, and eat with intention. Don't go out here eating fried chicken like I like to do. Moderation, y'all. I've learned that in this life. I've learned in this season. No fried chicken every day. No, I air fry it. So I still get my crisp. All right. Day 5, reduce the noise. Silence non-essential notifications. Limit reactive communication. Y'all, shut off sometimes. Shut your phone off sometimes. Take time for you. You don't have to answer every call. I don't care who you are. You do not have to answer every call. Whoever it is, they'll be waiting when you get done taking a moment to breathe. Day 6, practice gratitude. Thank God and review what is working, not only what is broken. And day 7, choose the next rhythm. Decide which practice you will keep weekly going forward. Y'all, all you're doing with this stewardship plan, it's an action plan. And it's helping you to become practical. It's encouraging you to form better behaviors. That's all. You have to remember that you got to set aside blocks of time in order for you to do better, to plan better, to be better. If we don't plan, then guys, you're going to fail. You're not writing stuff down. You're not trying to plan. You're overwhelmed. When was the last time you sat down and actually wrote some stuff down? Today is that day. You can adapt this language, I promise you, to anything. You can do a 7-day stress plan at the church. You can do it on your job. Y'all, you can do this in any area of your life. I promise you, you can. The key is just to get it done. All right, so my closing reflection to you guys is lead faithfully, pace wisely, receive the rest God offers. Again, he says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Matthew 11:28 and 29. Y'all, what will you protect this week so that your leadership remains healthy, clear, and sustainable? I need you to think about that. It's time to reduce your stress. And only you can do that. So you got to take this thing more seriously. Only you can. I encourage you to go back, watch this again, develop some nuggets, write down some thoughts, and really set aside a plan for you and how you're going to delegate or train new leaders and how you're going to manage your time more wisely so that you are not stressed out trying to handle everything. Let some stuff go. Learn how to delegate. And when you learn how to delegate, guys, you see this rope, it's not stretched anymore, right? It's starting to come back together. That's what we want. Everything works according to his plan. Everything. But we got to seek him, and we have to pray, and we have to do things God's way. Not our way, but God's way. In all things, we seek understanding. We ask for wisdom. We ask God to help us so that we can be better leaders, better ministers, so that we can just be better, period. If you want to be better, focus more on being who God has called you to be and learn how to let stuff go, delegate, create new leaders, and let stress go. Don't let stress hold you. And you definitely don't hold it. It's been Evangelist Pamela Burton with Rise Leadership Academy. Today's lesson has been stress stewardship for church and corporate leaders. Guys, all we want to do is refine, inspire, sharpen, and equip you to be better. That is the vision of our founder and pastor, Elder Brandon Clay of Main Street Church of God in Christ. I pray that you allow these trainings to transform your life. I'll see you soon. Bye.